Hello. Facebook was telling me I was setting up a whole new event, and I'm not. I'm here live. Hello, 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 hello. Who's with me live? Who's here? Who's here? Hold on, I need to show you my Morris. I'm channeling my inner Morrissey shirt. I don't know. Everybody should know who Morrissey is here. We're all old enough to appreciate. I actually never really liked the Smiths, but hey ho. Hi, young Debbie. How are you? You all right? What's been happening? Boo, boo, boo. Right, my scale obsessives, if we have any. Hopefully, we are seeing less. Hi, Sarah. Are you? Sarah's at soft play, so let make her feel at home by screaming loudly and throwing some soggy cold chips at her. Oh, soft play gives me the heave, gads. Just all the amount of pee and potential boop everywhere. Oh, good, Debbie. Love it, love it. Right, yeah, let's kick off. I'm hoping, well, I think we should only be half an hour. I've not particularly prepared anything huge, but effective. I have prepared. So this is all. Oh yeah, you're in the pathway of the red storm of doom. We've got rain. Surprise. So this session tonight was inspired by a couple of ladies in the group. And it's just some nothing major, like I'm not going, but it's just a couple of fleeting comments that kind of got me thinking about, okay, people being just desperate for the scales to change and being obsessed by a specific number and whatnot. So I was like, this needs to change ultimately. Well, I need to be able to help people think about this in a different way. And I think for a lot of women that come through and work with us, they have over the years been pretty much a slave to the scales, you know, got into habits of weighing themselves every day, being really affected by the scales, or when they've been good, you know, weighing obsessively a couple of times a day. I've heard people do that. And then when they've been bad, avoiding the scales like the plague because they know that it's going to change and they don't want to face up to that change. And it's, you know, long-term abuse of that is really damaging emotionally, mentally, as much as the behaviors that get to that point, you know, the overeating, the all or nothing, the binging, the cravings, the all or nothing, again, quite popular today, the all or nothings. And it's all tied in to the bigger issue. Okay, so I think what I want you guys to do today is start trying some of the techniques that I talk about, and we want to start thinking about it a different way, especially if you know that your mood is affected by the number on the scales, or you're obsessive about the number, or you're seeing progress in other areas, but you're still disappointed that the number on the scales is saying one thing. Sarah Berloff. Not calling you out directly, young Sarah, but we want to try and shift that because it's not healthy for you long term, and it's not conducive to your new behaviors and your new way of doing things. All right, so if you've ever said something like, I'm the type of person, or it's just the way I am, or I know what I'm like around the scales, then this is for you. Okay, so when we say anything about I'm just the kind of person, or it's just the way I am, or I've always been that way, or that's just the way it is, that actually is an identity thing. That's, you know, identity. It's the same as saying I'm a really good project manager. That's an identity thing. I'm a really good coach. That's an identity thing. I'm a good entrepreneur. That's an identity thing. I'm a terrible reverse parker. That's an identity thing, although I'm getting better. I'm terrible at boiling rice from scratch. Life is far too short, but that's an identity thing. You know, it all boils down to who we believe we are in the material world. Okay, so who do we believe that we are? But anything to do with an identity, other than a genetic element of I have brown eyes. Yes, that is part of my identity, but I cannot change that. Well, I could actually with contact lenses. But anyway, most of our identity parameters we can change. We can rip them up, throw them away, and go and create new ones. Thank you, Helen. Thank you. I believe it is. Today is from 2 o'clock onwards today. I believe I can get my hair wet. But I don't know if she, I've got questions. I've got questions. Anyway, so identity can be changed. And, you know, if you came into this program being I'm just an all or nothing type of person, hopefully by the time you leave us, you shouldn't be an all or nothing type of person, especially around your diet. That's an identity thing. Or I'm just naturally miserable. That's an identity thing, and that can be changed. I'm just naturally overweight. That can be changed. And so can I'm just someone who loves being in the scales. That can change. But it requires two things. It requires a decision to say, actually, I don't want to live my life like this anymore. And it requires doing things a little bit differently. Okay? So once you've got the decision, it's almost easy. You know, when people come and join us, they've got to make the decision, do I believe or do I trust that they can help me? And if the answer is 80% or more and they come in, yeah, it's almost easy because we've got the right systems, we've got the right processes, we've got the right tools, and we've got the right coaching. So we know what to do. And you guys now know what to do. If you make the decision going, do I want to be the person that's obsessed with the scales all the time and have my mood affected by it, yes or no? If the answer is, yeah, I'm quite happy being that person, then that's fine. You don't need it. Okay? Sarah, critical point there. When I feel like when I hit that figure, I will then change my ways. No, you won't. Because behaviours aren't created like that. Behaviours are created over a period of time by doing small, consistent changes over a period of time. If you think about on the cup in your starter pack, I think it is, there's a little graph, and it's about tiny incremental changes that benefit you over a period of time, rather than inconsistent actions create a downward trend line. And if you've read Atomic Habits or you've got it, have a look. It's in there. But basically, small consistent actions are required to change that approach. So there's a couple of things that we can really do that we have done with clients in the past that have some work for some people, some don't. You might have to do a test and learn. And if you're still getting your one-to-one coaching time with Clara, make a note and discuss your specific actions. Holy fuck, Biz, a Turkish delight bars lasted you 5 days. Oh my god, I'm impressed. That's incredible. Anyway, right, so what we have done with some ladies in the past is, one, ask them to hide their scales, or ask them to ask their husband to hide the scales or ditch the scales. Just ditch them. And measure, we either measure using an item of clothing, or we measure just using a tape measure, or we just measure using photos. And that we don't even bother using the scales. And in some instances, that has really alleviated that whole neediness for this scale to come down. Okay, for some people that doesn't work. But if you think you want to give that a try, give it a try. You know, no harm is going to come to it at all. Just hide the scales. The way this works best if you know that you're like 80-90% consistent with all your habits. Like you're getting your water in most of the time, you're doing your exercise most of the time, your calories are on point most of the time. You know, but if you're inconsistent, then it's probably not going to be the right thing for you because you've not embedded the inputs. Because when we embed the inputs, you're going to get the outputs. Okay. The second thing is actually doing repetitive behaviour. So if you're weighing yourself every single day, I want you to now put in your calendar at the time that you normally weigh yourself, or one day out of the week, don't weigh yourself. Do something else at that time. Don't weigh yourself. You don't need to weigh yourself every single day. Like, you know yourself, your hormones are changing, your salt intake changes, your carb intake changes, the amount of sleep that you get changes, your stress levels change, and they have direct impacts on the number on the scales. Because the number on the scales isn't just fat. The number on the scales is your skeleton, your skeletal muscle, your body fat, the amount of waste in your pipes, like how much you need to pee, how much poo you've got in there, blood, fluids, hair, you know, it's a lot of shit. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff. So it's not just fat. So it's your gravitational pull to Earth. That's all it is. It's data. It's a number. It means nothing. And it's not all fat. Okay. So if you're aware every day, take one day out of the week and don't weigh yourself that day. And just do that for a couple of weeks. Just weigh yourself 6 times a week. Then, once you've done that for a couple of weeks, do another day and just weigh yourself 5. What I would do is not take Saturday, Sunday out at this stage and just maybe take out a Tuesday and a Saturday or something like that. And then you can reduce it down to 4 and then 3. Now that may take a longer period of time, but we know that if we can do small things well over a period of time, it's going to embed as an actual behaviour and as a new pattern. It's going to form new neural pathways in your head, and that's going to become the new norm. Okay, that then means you no longer have the identity of somebody who weighs every single day, because you don't weigh every single day. You're coming down to weighing like 4 times a week or 3 times a week. Okay, so that's one thing that you can try. The second thing is repetitive language. Okay, so brains will start believing what they hear repeatedly. Okay, this is why affirmations, and this is why your future self, and this is why reading your goals repeatedly helps embed it. Okay, the future self, once we start feeling, hearing, reading, believing, that's when our mind starts going from that's an imagination thing to that's a real life thing. And that's how affirmations work, because over time we do not know what is real, we do not know what is imagined. So what we're telling ourselves is the reality. What we choose to focus on becomes the reality. So with that said, if you are an obsessive scaler, wherever your scales are, I want you to have some kind of post-it note language or something that says, this is just a number. This is just a number like 1 + 1 = 2. Okay, or this does not determine my mood today, or this does not determine my self-worth, or something that rings true to you. You also want to have something like that on your phone, so that when you look at your phone, no matter how many times a day you look at your phone, for many of us it's about 2,000 times a day. I've not even checked out how much I use my phone. So it's there, it's in your face. You are focusing on that thing, that phrase, that affirmation, so it becomes your reality. Okay, now just to give you an idea, I have got manifestation quotes here. I have got my vision board here. I've got more shiz up here, and I have my future self. Okay, because what I choose to focus on is going to become my reality, whether I want it or not, because I want to have more clients, I want to change more people's lives, I want to have just to be able to do hundreds of shit, right? So if I focus on doing hundreds of shit, I'm going to have hundreds of shit, you know, that's good for me. But for you, if you want hundreds of shit, then you need to make sure that the things surrounding you are helping you focus on that, so it becomes reality. Where focus goes, energy flows. I believe that was Tony Robbins, the big Tony. If you don't know who Tony Robbins is, go and watch him on YouTube. And if that doesn't motivate you to do, I don't know, anything amazing, then you're dead. Dead on the inside. I'm only kidding. You're not really. Some people really don't get on with Tony at all. So, when you are next up for changing your future self, you want to put something in that about this specific things. About, like, so Sarah, for example, Sarah internally believes that when she hits the number on the scales that she wants, then she's going to change her ways. But Sarah, by doing that, what actually happens when you get to that number? Really, if you're being very, 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 very honest, it doesn't change a single thing. Yes, you'll have an immediate dopamine hit, but it doesn't change anything about your life. You're still going to be the same clothes size, chances are. You're still going to have your 2 lovely kids. You're still going to have lovely Neil. You're still going to live in your lovely house. You're still going to believe the things that you believe. So it needs to be done the other way and start changing what we believe. So we start putting in something in our future self about Sarah is naturally a size 8 and because we know that you like the numbers and the scales, you could say something and sits naturally between 10 and 11 stone, or whatever the number is, 9 and 10 stone. I don't know, whatever. So that, because there is no one size for everybody. There's no, you must be 9 stone 4, you must be 12 stone 2. You must, I remember being obsessed with being 9 stone 13. Obsessed. And I used to sit maybe about 10 stone 2. I don't know, it's at 10 stone 2 now, but I used to sit 10 stone 2, be a size 6 to 8, and I'd be teeny. Sarah, you would remember me then. And I was obsessed with getting that £3 off to be 9 stone 13. And I got to 9 stone 13. Nothing changed. Like, I'm still a size 8. Still fit and healthy and strong, and nothing changed. And it was that was actually one of the, that was before I even started coaching. And it was one of the always things that was running through my mind about, why are we all obsessed with that? Anyway, but nothing changes. So we have to allow ourselves to be happy about ourselves without that number existing. Because what happens if your scales are wrong? And that's realistic. I can move my scales 5 inches down my bathroom floor and I can change by £5. And I've not changed. I've not suddenly dissolved all that fat in that time. It's just the scales. It's just an item. So start with some either statements and near about the scales, statements that you can read, that you can see, that you can focus on to take your reality somewhere else. But the scales do not determine you. They do not determine your worth. So, did that make sense? I hope that makes sense. But it's not going to change like that. It doesn't, what the day that you ate 5 portions of fruit and veg and got 140 grams of protein, you didn't suddenly drop a dress size. It takes time. It takes time. Reading your future self once suddenly didn't make you a country mansion owner with 7 horses. It takes time. It takes repetitive actions. Inputs. We'll get the outputs, but need to do it consistently well. So for those of you scalar obsessives, slave scalers, I can't think of a witty name, has that helped? Is there anything, what can you take from that? What can you do differently? One small thing that you can do differently to help change that approach. So now I'm going to get Archie to message Oscar and tell him to hide mummy's scales. He'd go mental. Go absolutely mental. Anyone going to do anything different? Because it's all about that identity aspect. And if you're fine having your happiness determined by a single number from an external force, that could be wrong or could be right. Because you could be 9 stone 6 right now, and then half an hour later after a cup of tea you could be 9 stone 12. I have a way I want to get understand. Oh, for fuck's sake, Sarah, yeah, I have a way I want to get in there. Stand so focus on that rather than a specific number. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So if you know, and I want you to also think about, if it is a specific number that you have in mind and that's the number, why that number? Why specifically that number? What number? Why does that mean something to you? And if it's because it's a number that you wear when you're 25, you are going to weigh more. Like, you've got a whole different body now from when you were 25. So, have a look at the healthy BMI scale and what is the, actually don't look at that, because I'm actually way over what is healthy now for my height, which is bonkers when you're sitting about in your size 10 jeans going, according to this, I'm overweight. So like that, fuck off. Thank you. Anyway, that's by the by. Yes, so that's a really good point. So Biz, going to reduce the number you weigh in a week. Do it slowly. Don't try and suddenly just go, I'm only going to do it twice. And this is like, I don't believe weighing yourself once a week when you're trying to lose fat. Like when you reach weighing yourself once a week when you're at maintenance is fine because it's just keeping yourself on track. But if you're trying to lose body fat and you're new to this type of approach, weighing yourself like 3 times a week is really good. So we're trying to show you the natural variations in your body, and you'll see, like, Clara did a live a few weeks ago, and it was one of our clients' weight loss charts, and it was like, do I get my scabby notebook? It was like that. Right, so this is the start, this is the end, and that has literally been the first time that has ever happened with one of our clients, that the weight goes straight down. Normally, it's, hold on. It goes up, and I can't see my camera, it goes up and down and up and down and up and down, up and down. And we want to teach you that that's what bodies do, especially women's bodies. Women's bodies are batshit crazy with hormones and fluctuations in fluid and all the rest of it. So yeah, it is meant to go up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. And what might happen, and I've seen this with clients, is you can get massive variations. That looks a bit like, I was going to say it looks a bit like a penis, but it really doesn't. But yeah, you can get massive fluctuations, and it's about teaching as the education of this is what bodies do, and not get freaked the fuck out, and not get angry, and not get depressed, and not hate on yourself for that, because ultimately, if you're doing all the inputs consistently well, 80-90% of the time, it will come. It will come. But we can't afford to get battered down by an item of data, a data unit. Okay, good. Right, I think this is, Debbie, I'm glad. That's good, yeah. And mood's a huge part of how, like, if we get up and weigh ourselves every day, and then 3 days out of those 7 we're in a shitter mood because the scale's gone up by 1 or 2 pounds, what is that doing to the rest of your day? You know, are you then going into work as focused and as energetic and as go get it as you could be, or are you going in defeated before you've even started? Are you going into your day in a really good mood with your family and like, yeah, I'm fun mum today, or are you just being a dick in the morning because you're upset about your weight? And if you are feeling that way to yourself, then chances are outwardly those emotions and feelings are being transferred onto someone else as well, which for most women, all they want to do is make everybody else around about them really happy, but always at the detriment of themselves. So in this instance, we're making ourselves really unhappy to the detriment of everyone else. Yeah. So yeah, there's going to be days where it's all over the place. There's going to be days where it's like, yeah, this is fabulous. And then there's going to go, what's happened? And there's a really good, oh God, I can't even remember where this would be. I think it might be in the free group that I did on a person who has, I want to say normal, but it's not the right word, but who has a fairly regular menstruation cycle, ovarian cycle. You can actually pinpoint where the weight will go up and where the bloating will be and where the additional hunger will be and when to eat more calories and when to cut back in the calories based on, you know, ovaries getting released, etc., etc. But when we're over 40, most of that just gets shot out the window. It's like, who the fuck knows half the time. So yeah, and that our weight changes a lot in relation to what our sex hormones are doing, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. So yeah, I hope that's helped. Right, any questions before I duck off? Any questions? And if anybody doesn't have any questions, I'm going to ask you a question. For those of you that have had this keratin malarkey, right? She said, don't get it wet, don't wash it, don't put it back for 3 days, right? So today is day 3, but I only wash my hair once a week. So I wouldn't really be due to wash my hair until Tuesday. And I hate washing my hair because it takes so long. But do I have to wash it now so that I can tie it back? Or can I just start tying it back and get it wet in the rain and it's not going to do any harm? I should really message her that, shouldn't I? Anyway, right. Let me know, anybody that's had the keratin that knows their shit about it. In other news, what else have we got? Nothing. Weekend is tomorrow. I'm not doing anything exciting. I hope you guys are doing something exciting. Next week, Clara is off until Thursday, so you have me on Tuesday morning. We have, I don't think we've got anybody in on Wednesday night next week. I can't see the calendar just now. Helen, are you on next week? You must be on. I feel like you've not been had a session for ages, but then it's not in my calendar. So if it's not in my calendar, it doesn't exist, because I choose to not focus on anything but my own calendar. Let me have a wee look. Next week. Yoga! Oh no, we do it! We've got yoga on Tuesday. Quite excited. I really loved the last yoga. Really, really loved the last yoga. A food tracking masterclass on Wednesday. I think Clara's back for that. If she's not, we're screwed. I think she's back. So yeah, we've got a lot on next week. Coaching calls, yoga, 7 o'clock on Tuesday. If you can make it, ladies, I really, really would urge you to go to the yoga because it was incredible. Food tracking masterclass on the Wednesday and coaching call on the Thursday. And then we've got Dr. Sam, the menopause medic, on Tuesday the 1st of March. Oh. Hells, you might want to check with Lisa when you're next on, because I feel as if you should be here more. Right, anyway, off you pop, ladies. Lovely chatting to you. I hope you all have a tremendous weekend and practice some of these things that I spoke about today. And I also want you to go and listen to some Smith's music and have a flower in your teeth and think of me in my floaty shirt. Right, have a good one. I'll speak to you later. Bye, 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 bye.